in China as a prison. I've been very clear that I don't like what they do. I don't need to, like, to a certain point, like, I've already made up my mind that I don't like them. I'm just gonna keep it off, guys. That's pretty much it. Yeah, it's over. I think it's overheated because my room is getting hot. So you 1 hour straight, banning guy for nothing. You're emotionally attached to your idea. Oh, the only reason you were able to insult me for an hour straight is because I didn't pay attention to your messages. Yeah, it wasn't because I read them and I thought it was okay. I just didn't read your messages. I didn't see them. Yeah, I would have banned you earlier if I had seen them. But I didn't, so... Yeah. I don't really know what to say there. I'm going to tell you someone that people here agree with what China does as well. But we do what we can about it. I mean, man, like, good luck. Like, it sucks. I mean, I can't even begin to understand. Self-report. Well, there's people that are just, they're smart. You know, they think they're smart. That's what happens a lot. People using ape as an insult somewhat recently. Well, I feel like that's always been an insult. What the Chinese government doesn't understand is that if you forbid or censor something, people will force their way to it. No, they won't. I don't really believe in that. I think that the reason why people do censorship is because it works. Yeah, why do you think people keep doing it? It doesn't work 100%? I think it absolutely works. Seems to be effective enough. Yeah, and also it's not like a 100%. There are still going to be people that, you know, they don't believe what you're saying or whatever. Weirdo's trying to act like rebellious, get on his nerves. Yeah, it is very annoying. But anyway. Wait, Hassan? Well, I think that Hassan and a lot of people, places like North Korea and China, and even places with soft levels of censorship and propaganda, I think that in many ways they do work. And that's why it just keeps happening. There's reasons why, you know, like Goebbels, like the big lie, is such a prevalent talking point 80 years later. It's because these ideas work. It absolutely does not work on everybody, but a fair amount of people. It's not about getting it to work on everybody. It's about getting it to work on enough people to where you can exact punishment on the people that it doesn't work on, and the rest of the people will be okay with it. It's you're not going to fool all of the people all the time. That's not your goal. You're just trying to fool enough of them. There's a real pure study on that? On what? Dresden bombing. I mean, that's a good example for the U.S. You're right. That's a great example. They have cameras following your movements 24/7 in China now. The level of control they can keep over you is terrifying. Yeah, I think that a lot of people, this is just kind of like what happens, is that a lot of people, I'm actually gonna, I think we pretty much talked about everything we needed to talk about on the storm out thing, right? Like, I'm pretty much good on that. Yeah, I think I've pretty much said everything. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I'm just getting in my room. I took my hoodie off and everything like that. Like McCarthy is America, while communists get thrown in jail for no reason. Well, it's a lot of people that aren't communists too. But anyway, like I think that a lot of people don't understand how brutal a company, or not company, a country like China is. Like they have no idea how ruthless and brutal a country like that is, and they think that, you know, oh well, people are going to speak out. No, they won't. The people that speak out, the government just comes and kills them and their family, and then that's it. Then there's nobody else speaking out, and that's it. Like I feel like people do not even comprehend the level of evil. They get run over with tanks. Yeah, exactly. Celebrities regularly disappear in China. I would rather go to Saudi Arabia than China. There's a lot of reasons I'd actually like to go to Saudi Arabia. I have friends there. As a man, yes. Yeah, I think that my opinion would be very different if I was a woman. You're right about that. Yeah, if I was a woman, I wouldn't. I don't think you know what you're talking about then. I think that I feel like China is a lot worse than Saudi Arabia, man. Really do. Different rules. I mean, like, yeah. Oh, it is 100%? Yeah. Disagree. I mean, like, really, like, what's the point of this conversation? Like, they're both bad, but, like, yeah, I think that if, yeah, what is the, like, I mean, like, none of us really know, like, probably nobody here has been to both countries, like, what are we even doing here? Okay, let's just pick this one up. It was molding for stupid shit. That's what I was saying. Like, yeah, why even talk about it? It's just stupid. Okay. Girlfriend's friends better live in China. I went to Sweden. Daughter grew up, moved back to China. 3 years, wanted to move back to Sweden. Chinese government stopped her, and daughter haven't heard from her since. Yeah, as I said, I mean, that's my opinion. But I mean, I don't know. Again, it's just like you're still comparing, like you're comparing two bad things, and then it's like, oh, which bad thing is worse? Like I don't know. Like what's again, like what's the point of that conversation? There's people in your chat who like Nick Fuentes. Do you support any of that stuff? Zackrawrr, what the fuck? I think there's people in my chat that probably like Hitler too. I mean, like, do I have to go around and talk about why I don't like Hitler every day? I mean, there's 13,000 people in the chat. What do you think the odds are somebody here is a Nazi? I would say it's probably 50%. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not going to get baited into a guilt by association thing where I have to actively say that somebody that's bad is bad. Because I think even by doing that, people consider that you have some degree of guilt because you feel like you have to repudiate it. I'm not interested in that. I think anybody who watches any of my content or anybody who knows me knows, you know, what I believe, what I stand for. And the people that don't, that's their own problem. Sana's North Korea, Simpsons fan base. Well, everybody is going to have bad apples. That's just what happens. If you have a lot of people who are in your community, you're just going to, by the odds, have people that are bad apples. It doesn't mean that you're a bad apple or it's your fault or anything like that. It just simply is. Okay. Nice. Yeah, you're always going to have people that are agitators or assholes or whatever, and I think that really, like, my perspective that I've always had with that, about Bill Burr, I have to deal with some really bad apples and understand what you stand for, just leave it. Well, I think a lot of people have this issue, like anybody who, the problem, like, this is just, like, in general, I don't know, like, I can go through this a lot. Anytime that somebody stands up against, like, what you would call, like, anything that's woke or something like that, you're automatically going to have people that consider you an ally who have very extreme opinions. It's the same thing that, like, for example, let me think of another example of this. Like, that's like a left-wing thing, because I don't think this is a right-wing only problem. Where do I have to go here? Antifa. Yeah, it's like stealing things. Like, I told people that, like, I don't really ever, I don't fault people for stealing things in many regards, because, you know, they just simply want the thing and they're going to get it. The only thing that I really fault is the, you know, the government for, like, letting it happen, right? It's, again, like, hate the player, or hate the game. Don't hate the player, hate the game, sorry. So, yeah, it's just like people, oh, yeah, I am still in just chatting. Oops. Yeah, I forgot about that. Each party has their own extremists. Yeah, and so, like, I'll have people that are, like, just, like, super left-wing, like, Antifa people. But then whenever I say that, like, I don't like Antifa, there's going to be people that are, what do you call it? These are, like, I think pretty much every single person who's, like, a, I don't know about every single person, but a lot of people that are, like, super right-wing also hate Antifa. So it's like, okay, well, now you're in a situation where you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, because you have an opinion that kind of like it radicalizes people. It's the same thing I've said before about, like, how I don't really care about the autonomy of private companies in many regards, because I believe companies exist to serve the public, and the public should be, everything should be accountable to them. And so, like, if I say something like that, that's definitely it's a left-wing viewpoint. So I'm going to have people that are okay with, you know, the government using force to get people to do things, because that's the direction that viewpoint goes down. It doesn't necessarily mean that viewpoint has that direction. But it does mean that there are people that feel that way with that viewpoint. Does that make sense? It's kind of like you're on their side of the fence. And just because you're not standing next to them in the yard they don't care about that. They're just happy that you're on their side of the fence. Because they view you as an ally even though you don't fully agree with them. And as I said, there's no real way you can prevent that. There's no way you can stop that or anything like that. It's just... It simply is. How do you define Antifa? I think I define it pretty much the same way that like anybody else would define it. The people that go to political events with masks on and intimidate people with threats of violence. And I think that's what most people have a problem with. Seems like, I don't know, common sense. Just like overall, like any time that people try to solve a problem with violence that is not basically started with violence, it's like basically it's not self-defense, I'm gonna pretty much say you're wrong. I'm in general like I'm a very big proponent of non-violence. And I think usually people that are not are violent people looking for an excuse rather than people that are actually have a conviction. I think these are people that are just violent that are looking for an excuse. What's wrong with punching Nazis? Well, because everybody has a different definition of what a Nazi is, and you can't just go around punching people based off of what your definition of a Nazi is. That's what's wrong with it. Some people think being a Nazi is voting for Donald Trump. Other people think being a Nazi is literally liking Hitler. That's a pretty big difference. You're not entitled to punch anybody because you disagree with them. Okay. Taught to Vegeta? Well, Vegeta's not real. You know, a lot of people, you know, they justify like things that they do with like a cartoon character that does this. Well, there's a superhero in a movie that does this. Okay. It's not very much not a very good argument to me. There's a lot of mobs here. Oh, I think I did this. Oh, no, I didn't do this one. Fucking bitch. Damn, I almost died there. I think Trump's gonna win the next election. I find that very unlikely. I think he'll run again, and yeah, I don't think that he's gonna run. I think that he'll run again, but I don't think he'll win. No. I mean, he could. It's possible, but like, it's impossible to say because like he, like I've seen like a lot of the press releases that he's put out, and it sounds like it's like he sounds like Keemstar, you know, like intentionally inflammatory, that kind of stuff. He does, and I think it's more Keemstar sounds like Trump, but like, just in general, that's my opinion on it. I mean, again, like, I don't really care too much about that. I'll worry about the election whenever the election happens. Not right now. Okay. King's just so cringe, dude. Dude's 49 reporting on Bryce Hall. I mean, I don't want to. It doesn't matter. Who gives a shit? What if people voted for policy instead of personality? Yeah. I mean, what if people researched policy? What if people understood statistics? There's a lot of what ifs in the world that we're never going to find out the answer for it. That's one of them. And people do vote for policy sometimes. That, you know, you vote for propositions. It's not like it never happens, but of course it doesn't happen. That's not the norm. Governments don't want smart people. I don't really know if that's entirely true, but I think the governments want people smart enough to function, but not smart enough to ask why they're not functioning more. It's generally what it is. What about throwing foul eggs on some people protesting against Corona rules? I think that any time that you initiate violence or physical interaction with another person, and that action was not originally physical, it's not like self-defense, I think you're wrong. So like if you're throwing something at somebody or anything like that, it's just, in my opinion, by default wrong. I don't even know which one's good. I'm gonna get that one. Violence only leads to more violence. Yeah, I'm not a fan of any violence at all. Especially not whenever it's like the individual. I think obviously, like, I mean, this is even like police. I think police are too violent with people. Obviously, like, sometimes you have to be if you're a police officer, but, you know, those people are trained to deal with that. And, you know, you are probably not the, you know, random guy talking about how you're going to punch somebody that you disagree with politically. Trained. I mean, police officers are, I mean, the thing is, you can say that I think that you're right. You know, police officer training is bad, and, you know, I've said many times that I don't like it, and I don't think anybody should like it. The reason why I think that it's bad is that every time that a police uses a improper use of force, or they hurt someone or something like that, that person's family sues the state, and they get a huge settlement that is paid for with our tax dollars. We directly are affected. Every single one of us are affected by stupid police officers with not a lot of restraint. So this is something that's bad for everybody, not just you know, people breaking the law. Okay. Did the police deduct money from their pension funds? I don't really think that's fair for some other police officer who didn't do anything to lose money because of, you know, a judgment. And then also, like, it's not necessarily that those judgments are always right or anything like that. Someone works in law enforcement. Violence is something avoided whenever possible. Yeah, I think that most. The thing is that here's like my perspective on it, is that I think most police officers are good police officers. I do think that. I know that might upset some people that just categorically dislike police officers, but that's not me. I don't categorically dislike police officers. I think a lot of them do try to actually do good, and some of them do good and some of them don't. Nice. Give me a second when we do all this. Okay. And anyway, but the problem is that I think this is the concern that a lot of people have with police officers and the good quote police officers, is that the good police officers in many cases provide like a shield and allow the bad police officers to continue being bad police officers. So it's kind of like guilt by association. It's like you know, like your friend goes and breaks a window and then you drive him away from the scene, right? Getaway driver did not break the window but is still basically responsible. So yeah, it's also like, I mean, providing, like, let's say somebody does it and then like you get in the way. Like a good example is like, let's say you see somebody, your friend breaks a window, and then the police officers are trying to apprehend your friend, and then you get in the way and you make it hard for the police officers to get to your friend because it's your friend and you're trying to help your friend. I think that's the perspective that a lot of people have, and I think that's the, in my opinion, that's the right opinion to have. Obviously, or I would not have it. Cops save lives, almost forget. Yeah, cops do save lives. Police officers do make positive impacts in people's lives. This does happen. I think it's disingenuous to say otherwise. The problem is that it's kind of like the same thing that I've said before, that it's like if you have 100 people shake your hand but one person punch you in the face, who are you going to remember tomorrow? Or slap you in the face, right? Because punch would obviously, you know, usually, right? You're going to remember the guy that slapped you in the face. And like, this is what I said before with like the, you know, like occupying a foreign country or something. People are going to have bad interactions with the guys there, and it's just going to make everything worse. For a bad cop that's under good ones. Why do you guys have police officers in school? The simple reason why we have police officers in school, like with my school, is that people brought weapons to school regularly, and unless you had somebody who was trained in disarming, you know, someone who was armed, and it's not guns even, it was like knives and other things like that too. Like somebody got stabbed in my school, and so like they had to do all this. I'm taking a lot of damage for some reason. I don't really know why. Looks like I have to pull the boss. Perfect and normal. Well, I feel like there's probably a lot of bad schools in other parts of the world too. It might not necessarily be something that only happens in America. I'm not really sure. Like, I mean, I've never been outside of America, so I don't really know. But I just find it to be incredibly unlikely that, you know, America has this problem exclusively. No, we only do pub fights. Yeah, I mean, over here it's different. Like, maybe it is. That's American? I don't know. Like, I'm not... To be honest, like, again, like... Oh, fuck yeah, dude! Nice! Nice! I actually got the fucking shoulders. Those are really, really, really rare. Police officer growing up in my Vancouver school in Canada. Yeah, I mean, in my school in Sweden, people brought knives a lot, and also the police had to be brought there a lot. We have bulletproof backpacks, kids in school, USA. I'd never heard of that. I mean, whenever I went to school, nobody had a bulletproof backpack. Okay. And oh, I didn't get my thing either. My fucking conduit upgrade. Well, who cares? Judgment means in Germany we don't have any police officers in school. Then we don't have we have a school shooting once per decade in the entire country. Yeah, I don't know how things are in Germany or anything like that. I mean, the thing is with America is that it's like extremely culturally diverse. I don't know if places like Germany have like the same level of cultural diversity that America does. I would assume that they don't. So it's like whenever you have like that many different types of people in a place, and it's like you have so much disparity, like wealth disparity, like I feel like in a lot of those like kind of like Norway, Sweden, places like that, the middle class lives better. I was actually talking, I told you I was talking to Nick about this yesterday too. And he said like kind of like their highs are lower, but their lows are higher in terms of like society. Why are your reps going? Because I have boxes that I can open from them. You're very pro-America. I think it's a Texas thing. I'm not pro-America, really. I think America has a lot of problems and is bad in a lot of ways. But I am not anti-America to the point where I hate America. And I think there's also a lot of people who hate on America. But there are many other countries all around the world that have problems, even though they're not the same problems that America has. And also, like, for example, it's very easy to make an opinion on China. I think like it's easy because like there are certain just like objective facts about it that you can dislike. But I try to like withhold my opinions about Russia, for example, because I don't live in Russia. I don't speak Russian. I don't understand Russian culture. I've never been to Russia. I've never talked to people from Russia, but that's about it. So like, what do I really know about Russia? And I think there's a lot of people that they feel the same way about America, is they, you know, never been to America. They don't really, you know, they're not in the culture of America. They've never lived here. So like, what do they know about what America is? But no, I'm not like a pro-America in like a universal way. And that's the same thing like I talk about like other elections. It's like, what do I know about who the French president should be? I've never been to France. I don't speak French. I don't understand their culture at all. Like, how am I supposed to make a decision on who their president should be? I'm completely outside of their culture. There's so much different laws and culture. It's different to compare. Luckily, Italy, it's not a problem. It's hard to say. I mean, I've never been there either. I can't say. North Korea thoughts? Not a fan of North Korea. You know, I feel like that one's that one you can pretty much assume is not a good one, you know? Difference is Europeans very into American culture and media, so they're very often aware of our politics and cultural issue, even through a lens, than even some Americans are. Yeah, and like you'll read what happens in Europe too. It's like I read all the time about Boris Johnson. He looks like a discount Donald Trump. Like what? But like, what do I mean, like he speaks English all the time, but like, do I know? Like, I hear this guy's an asshole, but like, what do I know? I have no idea. You see what I mean? Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's why I don't go around talking or criticizing or, you know, having a real opinion about it. I feel like in general, like there's just so many problems, like in like my own community, right? Like we have like homeless camps here in Austin. Like why would I even spend a second of my time thinking about what goes on in another country? You see what I mean? Probably should go do this. Why not though? I feel like there's only a certain amount of time and bandwidth your mind has to focus on things. Like you have 24 hours a day. And I'd rather spend that 24 hours focusing on something that is more real to me, is more personal to me. It's in reach, yeah. It's like, in general, like my opinion on, Britain's politics is really just kind of beside the point. It doesn't really matter what my opinion is. Yeah, like I have no, I have no control over it. China's not minding their own business? Yeah, well, I understand that. Love Rocket Farm starts next week? The Love Rocket? You mean the X-45 Heartbreaker? Fucking sexist? You disgusting fucking sexist? Look up document number 9? Why would I look up document number 9? What do you think, I need to have research to think that China's trying to influence public opinion about themselves? You think I need to research this to come to the same conclusion? Isn't just China, but you can't talk about that? Yeah, I think Korea, South Korea has made an active effort to export a lot of their culture too. There's been a lot of conversations about that too. It's something that they've consciously done. And yeah, no, it is, you're right, it's not just China. Okay. There's no extra experience, so I guess I'm just gonna do this one. I need to do these, but I just, I don't feel like my characters are ready yet. Oh, let me, get rid of that guy. Just put him in instead. Excuse me. I hate doing these, they're so stupid. Okay. You focus on the wrong thing. Fix the environment by improving poor cultures, countries that pollute a lot instead of small changes in rich countries and travel habits. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know how to stop pollution. I have no idea. Try this one. They're probably just gonna fail it. Fuck it. You have to level other covenants. Yeah, I'm gonna start doing that. I just need to do the Ember Court more. Okay, so probably should do this comp stomp thing. Yeah, I really should. I need to get also 2K in arena. I kind of just want to chill right now. I'm just gonna do a few other things before I go to bed or anything. Let's see, what do I want to do? What should I try and farm right now? Which of you on American politics being so heavily based on single politicians? Generally don't vote on a specific person, but rather a political party? I mean, I'm sure that there's advantages and disadvantages to both. it's hard for me really to imagine what it's like for that. Yeah, it's hard for me to say. No more politics in games. I think most people don't want politics in games. Looking up documents provides you with facts instead of assumptions, which is always good. The thing is, like, I don't really need facts. Like, I'm not trying to debate this with anybody. I'm not trying to assert this. I feel like there is a logical, a priori, common sense opinion that China is trying to change the way that it's viewed in the world. Like, you don't need to have evidence to prove this. I'm not going to read a large document that I don't even know what the fuck it means. Like, I don't care. I don't need to prove this to anybody, because anybody who I think would reflexively disbelieve that, I think, is an idiot. And why would I care about the opinion of idiots? Every country's trying to be viewed in the best light possible. Oh, you're right about that. But the difference is that, like, some countries go about it in a much more heavy-handed way. And then also, like, just the truth is that it's worse whenever China does it than North Korea, because people don't like what China is doing and they don't mind what Korea is doing, like South Korea. It's really just all it comes down to. North Korea, you mean? Do you think you'll start streaming again on main Twitch, Jonas account for a while? I'll make a post about it soon. They can't change their image. For example, in Serbia, they have invested in factories, pollution goes through the roof. You'd be really surprised. Like, so it's like, you're right, they're not going to change their image entirely, but it's not really about changing your image entirely. It's about making small, incremental adjustments to the way that people see you. This is something that I'm sure, like, you have to understand, like, China has been a country for longer than almost any other country in the world. They're probably not looking at things as like this is not a 3-year plan. This is a 300-year plan, a 30-year plan, or a multi-generational plan. CCP took over in 1949. Yeah, the country was called China before that. Yeah, I don't know if you know that. You ever use Cataclysm screenshots? Yeah, I will at some point. I don't know when. Is this government body of that? Yeah, it's just China can plan for longer because they don't have to care about elections every 4 years. Yeah, there's that too. Okay. Values in countries are way different. China publicly states they don't care about basic human rights. Okay. Like, that's kind of what I'm saying, though, right? Is that when another country that has more agreeable... Yeah, when a country that has more agreeable culture exports its culture, people are going to be more okay with that because it's not as bad. I mean, it's just common sense, right? Okay. Agreeable culture as in matches our Western biases? Yeah, exactly. Saying Buddhist culture is widely accepted in Western cultures? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. Hopefully we'll get it. We'll see what happens. Yep, I'm doing it for Shivermaw again for the 50th fucking time. Blizzard banning people and then unbanning them 1 hour later is the most Blizzard thing ever. I mean, mistakes happen. Like, I don't really... The thing is, like, I'm not going to, like, hold Blizzard... Like, I'm not going to hate Blizzard because they made a mistake. It's whatever, right? I mean, mistakes get made. There's a lot of people, and that's all there is to it. Yeah, of course. I mean, that's just the way it goes. I mean, obviously, it's annoying whenever that happens, especially if it affects people and that person, but I think that, like, this just happens with everything. You know, it happens on YouTube. It happens with everything that has some sort of, like, a discipline system. Elaborate on why exporting culture is good or bad in general. South Korea exporting culture is way more acceptable than China because the ideologies are very different. I feel like propagating a better culture is a better option. I don't really care. Like, all I'm saying is that why I think that exporting culture is a good idea. I think in general, it's good to look at other cultures to see how they do things. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're right. But, like, for example, I think that you can easily look at, like, American corporate culture I dislike more than what seems to be, like, the Japanese corporate culture, where they think much more long-term, and there's much more honor and much more personal accountability from the leadership. So, like, that's an example of a time where I think exporting a certain type of culture is a good thing. Japanese corporate culture is toxic and terrible. And that's the thing, right? So there are a lot of things in Japanese culture, like working really, really hard and, you know, not having a good work-life balance. I think that's bad. So, like, I think it's fair to say that, like, well, I like the way that, you know, the relationship they have with their customers in a way, and how their leadership behaves in that regard, while not at the same time agreeing with every single thing that exists inside of Japanese work culture, because number one, I don't know it all. Yeah, it's very simple. Like, just because you agree with one thing doesn't mean that you agree with everything else. And that's what I was kind of getting at with the original point, right? Is you pick and choose, and you take the best ideas from everything. It's very simple. So looking at other cultures is valuable, see inherent benefits and drawbacks from each, and form a better point of view. Yeah, definitely. I think it's really important to do. What are people dying from overwork instead of complaining on Twitter about diversity? Yeah, but, like, I'm not really a fan of that at all, right? I mean, I don't think anybody is. Okay. Alright, this one's not it. Let's go ahead and hearth out. Shoga says you're the best streamer and you're an inspiration. Yeah, I need to message him back, actually. I might do that after I finish my stream. Yeah, I tell him I appreciate it, man. I do. As I said, I think it's great to see WoW players getting more recognition. It's awesome. I think WoW players, the thing is, like, if you're a WoW player, you have to have a good personality to be successful. So, like, that's why you see a lot of people that come from WoW that are successful streamers. Is because you have to have a good personality, you have to be funny in order to get people to stick around. Because they sure as hell ain't watching for the gameplay, you know? What else is this? Trying to think what else I still need to farm. Watch the Valheim Pacifist Challenge. If you remind me tomorrow, I'll watch it. What do I need to farm? This will probably just do some BFA stuff. Is the story of Heavensward good? Yeah, I thought it was good. I don't think I feel like the Heavensward story was, it was like much more grandiose and much more big than A Realm Reborn story. Like, I actually quite enjoyed the Realm Reborn story, even though it was telling a smaller story. It wasn't this extravagant, glorious conquest. It was just something that was small and personally based. So yeah, that's the way I feel about it. What is grandiose? It means like a, you know, epic. Large in scale. Larger than life. Yeah, there you go. Shadowlands worth returning to? I'd wait till 9.2's got a release date before you came back to play. That's my best advice. It's following you since your 10K YouTube special. Feel a wave of nostalgia over me. Love you. Nice that you're here. Yeah, man, I'm chilling. I like streaming, and it's good. I like sitting here and just talking. I've always really enjoyed it. I mean, that's why, I mean, I've been online today for almost 10 hours and I'm chilling, man. I never really feel tired after my streams at all. And I'm never like exhausted or like worn out, or it's not like oh man, I don't want to go live tomorrow. I always finish my stream, even if it's a 10-hour stream. I feel good, and I look forward to the next one. So yeah. Streaming a main channel? I'll be streaming on my main channel pretty soon, okay? Yeah, there is a bit more stress for me streaming on the main channel for a lot of reasons. I really enjoy sitting here on my second channel and just streaming with no cam, just talking. I know it has a smaller audience, right? Because obviously my mainstream channel content, I really try, I try really hard to make it as good as possible. And to be honest with you guys, I don't really care if you guys don't like the content right now. I don't give a shit. If you don't want to watch me farm Toll the Gore, that's totally fucking fine. But on my main stream, I try to spend a little bit more time focused on what people want to see. Because I do care about being an entertainer and being a showman to an extent, and it's fulfilling. And it's kind of like a, I don't know, you could use the example of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but I don't think it's that insane. It's just basically that there's a part of me that likes doing one thing and a part that likes doing the other. Mr. Sam Hyde. I actually saw that they put me in one of their videos. I don't know if this was intentional or not, but they did. Saw it on YouTube. Can't keep getting away with it, yeah. Tell me, doing Race to World first with Ranch? I feel like Race to World first is like, it's whatever to me. A persona? Well, the thing is, like, a persona is, the implication behind a persona is that a persona is not really you. And the truth is that really, if you go back and you listen to the kind of things that I'm saying, even on my main stream, it's really the same stuff that I'm saying on this stream. Now, there is some exceptions. Like, I'm more willing to talk about something that's political on this stream, or super contentious on this stream in that way, more so than I am on my main stream, because people just go ape shit. And it's like, already whenever I say something, even on this stream, there'll be a lot of people that will, like, I'll read articles about myself saying something, and that could be kind of weird. Like, you know, you think you're just streaming to your community, and people are writing articles, and like a bunch of people are reading them and commenting on what you're saying, and trying to like break it down. There's a lot, and it is a level of stress, but I mean, I think that just goes with making content. And if you make content, you should expect people to I mean, at least the thing is, like, I'd rather people are writing articles about me than not. You know, at least they're talking about me. That means something. LSF essay? Yeah, there's people. I don't really get on LSF a lot. I think that a lot of LSF has a love-hate relationship with me. 1 week they love me, the next week they hate me. It is what it is. The thing is, like, I don't really make content for LSF. It's not that I actively don't either. I don't actively hate LSF or anything like that. I think that there are elements of LSF that's bad. Like, for example, I don't like how they'll be like, I think that LSF views itself as a accountability apparatus. Like, they view themselves as like, well, you know, if it goes on here, there's a higher chance that something will happen about it. And like, we can hold streamers or we can hold people accountable for things. And I find that to be very, very worrying. I generally am afraid of any kind of mob justice because, again, if it was real justice, it wouldn't be called mob justice. It would just be called justice. I think many times mob justice is not fair, and it's often biased and misinformed in some cases. And I think also, like, it's very easy for narratives to be spread about people. Like, this has happened a number of times where, you know, a narrative gets spread about a streamer, and it turns out that, like, this isn't really true. But the retraction of the narrative or the correction of it doesn't really get as much traction as the original post, so people still believe it's true. And with Pro Jared, that's one. LSF said your parents with the January 6th riots. Well, the thing is, like, LSF is, I mean, that's really just like probably one person that posted a comment that got 2 upvotes. But I think there is an issue that, like, this is what happens whenever a streamer does something that is not agreeable. Let's just use that as a term with the LSF community. It's very easy and it's very fast that it becomes basically a hate thread where people are just piling on this person, and it's like, Andy did this and he did this other thing, he's a loser, and it's just like every comment is just like really negative. And it's not even about what they're saying, it's just like personal attacks and shitty stuff like that. And it's like, should that be moderated better? I think so. I don't think it's healthy for streamers to have a community like that online. I think it's very unhealthy. And I think also it's not healthy for the community itself. Because I think what it does is whenever you have like that level of vitriol, what you end up doing is you alienate people that are not like that, and you attract more people that are like that. So it's like a self-radicalizing problem. If you get wreckful so quickly, I think that it's kind of a I think it's unfair to say that, like, I'm sure that like internet hate was like an agitator, like it made wreckful's situation worse, but I don't think it's fair to say that LSF or any internet community caused what happened to wreckful to happen. Like, that's, I think it, number one, it's giving them too much credit. And it's like wreckful's brother killed himself as well. He had a lot of other deep-seated problems that didn't really have anything to do with LSF. So the abuse wreckful got was crazy. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was insane too, but yeah. How can you do that to your parents? Well, you don't live your life for your parents. I mean, look, I would never want to do that while my parents were alive too. So like, it's not even that I disagree with you, like on a personal level. I just don't think it's something that you can say to somebody. But yeah, that's all I'm really saying is like, I think that streaming does have, it does have a lot of lasting mental negative effects. I think this is just true. It's like whenever you hear, like, I mean, there's too many people that become streamers, and then over time it affects their mental state in a negative way, for there not to be a correlation. You put Mortal online? No, not really. I was gonna watch a little bit of Lyrics VOD playing it, but that was about it. Like Dr. K, crucial for a platform like Twitch. Yeah, I think also the problem with a lot of that is that what you really need is you need to have like a community that understands that, because the real problem, what happens is like, I don't know, there's a lot to it, but the issue is that a lot of people in the streaming community And I'm not saying like you don't have to say, oh, I'm not like that or whatever, right? I know not everybody is like that. But there are a lot of people in the streaming community who genuinely believe that a streamer can't have any problems because they just get to sit around and play video games all day. So it's like impossible for them to understand why a streamer is unhappy to anything, right? It doesn't, because like basically a lot of these people are people who they want to be streamers, and because this person is living their dream life and then this person has something that makes them unhappy or they are unhappy, it actually makes the that person resent them. They now resent the streamer because it's like, how can you have this opportunity that I want more than anything and you're not permanently happy all the time? Because if I was, I think that I would be. They think they want to be streamers. Yeah, exactly. And so like that's really the problem. And so like, for example, there are a lot of things like streamers have to deal with that might make some people uncomfortable, like getting recognized in public, and obviously like this is a top 1% thing. So like if you're streaming to 300 viewers, you don't really need to worry about getting recognized in public. Like I would say pretty much every time that I go out, I get recognized. There are people like today I went to get my oil changed and the guy wanted to take a picture with me. And I want to say that, if you see me out and you want to say hi, feel free to. I doesn't, like, to me, I grew up in I live in my hometown. So, like, to me, it's no different than a friend from high school or a friend from college or middle school saying hi as well, right? It's like, hey man, I haven't seen you for like 10 years. It's like, what's up, how you doing? And like it feels basically the exact same. So anyway, what I'm really saying is like, but there are people that this like really makes them uncomfortable and uneasy, and I think this definitely, especially with women, it's going to make them more uneasy. Some of us are in Austin too. Yeah, and so like that's what I'm saying, right? Yeah, yikes. Well, there's a lot of people like here's the thing, it's like the 1 in 100 thing, the 100 handshakes and 1 slap. Most people that are going to come up to you are not going to be hostile. Like I've never had like a bad fan interaction or something like that. I mean, have I had people that were kind of awkward? Like, yeah, I guess. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't really care about that kind of stuff. Like, I don't think about, whenever I'm talking to someone, I'm not thinking about, oh, this person's awkward or not. It's just not really something that exists on my radar, and it's not something that I consciously like think about, is this person or are they not awkward? I just don't really care that much. It's just not a thing to me. Some are just awkward, yeah, and there's a lot of reasons, and I don't know, it just doesn't really matter to me, I guess. I hate how, oh, there we go, it's gone. Okay, good. That's when fans by default are awkward. I've had very, very few, like, super awkward conversations. Like, most guys are just like, yo, like the videos, appreciate it, man, thanks. Can I get a picture or not? And that's about it. It's not... Yeah, I mean, it's just like, that's it. Nothing crazy there. See if I can kill him with that cast. Looks like I can. People that stream Snipe IRL are fucking weird. Yeah, I'd prefer if people didn't show up during the streams. Like, I mean, it's like if you're there and I'm there, that's totally different. But people that would drive there to be on the stream, I would really prefer if people didn't do that, because it puts me in a weird spot, because like I don't know which one it is. And did a kid ever recognize you? No, I've taken a few pictures with like kids and like their parents or whatever, but mostly like I think probably like maybe 2 or 3, like, and that's like including conventions and stuff like that too. I really don't have a young audience. Most of the people that watch me are older guys. Boomer audience? Yeah, I think a lot of times it's a guy with his wife and him saying, "Give me a minute, honey, I've got to say hi to Asmongold," and then she rolls her eyes. Yeah, I've had that happen multiple times. Yeah. It's like, ugh. Well, know what to do if I had a negative confrontation in public? I don't know. I mean, I don't really ever worry about that or think about that. I mean, there's plenty of negative interactions people can have in public and whatever. Like, you know, I'm not like a super social guy or anything like that, but I just always assume that, you know, when the time comes for any sort of a negative interaction, I'll know what to say, when to say it, and I'll say it, and I'll do it, and it'll be fine. That's about it. Yeah, I don't like sit around and think like, oh man, you know, this is what it's gonna be or whatever. The hell? Do you miss promoting in mainstream? Yeah, a little bit I do. Video about new Blizzard game, you think it'll come out in 2 or 3 years? We get Diablo 4, very skeptical about that. We'll see what happens. Yeah, it's hard really to say. But yeah, anyway, I forgot even what I was saying. Oh yeah, about like streamers. Is that, yeah, it's very hard to seek sympathy from an audience with like streamer specific problems. And I think that in streamers in general, it's hard to seek sympathy, because like you want to have your audience understand how you feel. I think many streamers feel that way. Is they want to have they want to have their audience like understand, and they want, like, people want to be understood just in general. People just want to be understood, validated, and have somebody say, yes, okay, this guy understands me, he gets me. You know what I mean? And with streamers, I think that there's a compulsion to try to get your audience to understand you, to see things the way that you see things, and, you know, to understand how you feel. And I think it's more possible whenever you have an older audience, for sure. Like for me, I feel like it's more possible for me than it would be, you know, maybe for somebody else that has a much younger audience, because I think the younger audience, they don't have the perspective. They don't really understand how it's different. And I think, again, like, this is also a matter of odds. I'm not saying that this is always the case with these people. With many people, you know, there are kids that they get it and it's like totally fine. There's like 40-year-old guys, like classic WoW Andes, and they don't get it. So it's not like it's a guarantee that, like, oh, kids are stupid and adults are, you know, older guys are smart or girls or whatever. But, you know, I think that generally there is a trend that having that higher level of understanding, especially, you know, the relatability, I think that, like, younger kids are generally more naive. And so it's harder for them to perceive, and also, like, empathy. Like, empathy isn't really... Like, I think the part of your brain that, like, really dictates empathy isn't, like, really fully formed until you're in your late 20s, I believe. So, that's not necessarily to be surprised. Being older doesn't make you smarter. I think that generally being older does make you smarter to an extent. Like, for example, I would assume that a 30-year-old guy is probably a lot smarter than a 21-year-old guy. Ain't got shit. Pretty much, yeah, because they've just had much, like, way more life experience. They've been through way more shit. Wiser, not smarter, perhaps? I mean, like, it's like very, like, I don't know, I think we're splitting hairs. I've experienced, but I've met some really dumb 35-year-olds. Yeah, but I've met a lot of really dumb 21-year-olds. As I said, man, like, I tell people that I still feel like I'm 16, and I do, until I talk to a 16-year-old, and then I realize I'm 31. Wait a second, never mind. No, I'm not 16. And it's like you have a conversation with somebody who's like, you know, like 10 years younger than you, or like 8 years younger than you. Especially whenever, like, I mean, 30 and 38, right? Like 38 and 44, what's the difference there? Probably not as big. But especially whenever you're young, I think it's a huge difference between 21 and 30. It's just massive, man. When you're talking to a 16-year-old, let's not make this weird, man. Like, I've talked to people that are like 16 in the game. Yeah, they're like, hey, I like to stream. And I just see the kind of stuff they say. Yeah, it's not weird at all. Stop. Like, it's stop. It's online gaming. Trying to make it weird, yeah, it's just fuck. So yeah, anyway, like, I was always in chat searching for fucking drama. That's just weird, man. But it doesn't matter, who cares? Anyway, like, what I was saying before is, like, you know, you're just in a different spot, and, like, I know me, like, I'm a lot fucking smarter than I was back in 2011. I mean, I might not have as good of a reaction time. Like, I think my reaction time back then was way fucking better. But everything else was, not quite as good. Eyesight in my case? Yeah, I have actually perfect eyesight. I can read a book in the dark. I can see spider webs in the dark. I don't really know why. You know, my grandfather was a pilot in World War II. And so was my other grandfather. So, you know, I'm lucky in that way. I've actually, like, my teeth and my hair. Like, my hairline's receded. But other than that, I haven't really ever felt any effects of aging at all. Whether it be, you know, getting tired, or, like, back problems, neck problems, anything like that. I've never had any of that. My back doesn't hurt at all. I don't get sick eating whatever food I want. I can wake up and go to bed whenever I want, and I never feel bad. Like, I have to get enough sleep, but I can wake up at 8 p.m. or 8 a.m., and as long as I got 8 hours of sleep before then, or 9 hours of sleep before then, I sleep a lot, I'm good to go. I'm only 30 though? I'm actually 31 now. Yeah. So anything is OP? Yeah. Wait till your late 40s. I mean, we'll see. And it's the same with like my weight. Like, I've gained ever since I was in like high school, because whenever I was 108 pounds, it was also because like we couldn't really afford food. But other than that, I've usually been like 120 pounds, somewhere around there. That's about how much I was in high school. And like now I'm like 135. No wrist problems after 20 years of gaming? None whatsoever. I have no problems with my hands. You know, I crack my hands, my knuckles a lot. Like that's one thing, but like I've always done that. Gradual decline in testosterone. Yeah, that's never been an issue for me. Eyes, my eyesight is perfect. Carpal tunnel, nope, none of that. Six-foot lady, it weighs 100 pounds more. Well, where is that 100 pounds more? Yeah, where is that? I mean, because that's not, doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. I don't understand how people can get carpal tunnel. I've been playing since age of 4 and I'm 30 now. It's just genetics. Like, that's literally all there is to it. It's literally genetics. I've had like a handful of, what do you call it? Like a gray hairs. But that's about it. I think I'm doing better than most people. Black pill number 1, genetics are everything. Yeah, it's like my dad is, he's 74, 75, and he is, you know, he still goes for a walk every morning, you know, multiple miles, and gets around just fine. And like my mom, I mean, really the truth is with my mom, how could you even live as long as she did, living like she had the same diet and lifestyle that I did, the exact same diet and lifestyle that I did, except she was 70. Yeah, and I'm talking about like, and she smoked, and she smoked, and she was like massively overweight. Like, she would get up and wake up, you know, 8 a.m., 8 p.m., didn't fucking matter. Sit around all fucking day. And she was happy. Like, she was so happy. Like, oh, great. Today we're going to get Bill Miller's barbecue and we're going to watch Gladiator. And it's like, all right, there it is. Did what she wanted. Yeah, she literally lived like a college freshman. That's it. And pretty much all of my other family members are about the same. Like, almost every family member that I have, I guess at least on like my dad's side, was either in like the military or was like a college athlete. I'll play WoW. I got one of them into it for a while, but then I think his church made him stop or something. Max. That's the same one, by the way, who he was the one that fucked up all the jobs, and now he's a construction manager. Measure persistence after you can hit the wall also. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I get quite nervous, but we'll see what happens. What about you in the military? Dad didn't want you to go to military school. My dad wanted me to do JROTC, and I did for a year. But the reason why I didn't go to the military, I would have gone to the military, for sure. It's that I didn't want to be treated as expendable. And I felt like I was going to be treated as expendable in the military. And that's why I didn't want to do it. And that's what happened to Jeff. You know, Jeff's a disabled veteran. I don't know if people know that or not, but he's a legitimately disabled veteran because he got injured in a training accident, and it was completely unnecessary what happened to him. Completely fucking unnecessary. And like, for example, the guy that gave me the Asmongold name, Toby. Toby was in the military. Cody, Tim. Like Tim, I met Tim in like 6th grade. Tim told me in 6th grade he's gonna be a pilot. Guess what he is right now? He's a fucking pilot. And let's see, Jeff. I have a lot of friends that are in the service, or were in the service. Let's go, Tim. Yeah, fuck yeah. It's good that it's good he joined the military, because Tim and Lowell were like super tight. Like they were better friends than I was with either one of them. And like they were into drugs and like drinking, and like Tim went to the military, and so he just couldn't do it. You know, problem solved. And meanwhile, Lowell was fucking rehab and a bunch of drugs and shit. Kinda sucks. Just got out of the Marines, so pog me. Oh, fuck yeah, man. So yeah, man, like, I would have joined the military too. But, I just, I didn't want to be treated that way. That's really the only thing to me. Like, I always thought it would be like kind of fun to go through like all the training and everything like that. It'd be cool. Like a lot of people would like dread that or not like to do that. I always thought it would be cool to do that. But I just never did. How many push-ups can you do? Now I can probably do like 20, I'd say. If you're in bad physical shape, it would be brutal. I was like in really, like I could climb up like a rope that's like high as about as high as like a 2nd story house, like the tip of a roof. I could climb up a rope like that using just my arms, up and down 3 times. Just like 1, 2, 3. Like no breaks or anything. Like I used to be like I could run a mile in less than 5 minutes, man. I was a very, very fit. And then I started playing World of Warcraft. And things went downhill. Makes sense, the military background. Yeah, my family has been in every single war that the country has ever had. Yeah, including the Revolutionary War. So yeah. There was like definitely, I don't think like my dad like really wanted me. Like my dad was like, he never really cared what I was gonna, like, he cared, but he never really had like a vision of what I was gonna do. It wasn't like, oh, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, then you're gonna go to school, then you're gonna be in the military, right? He's never like that. He was just like, you're gonna do what you want to do, and I'm gonna support you with whatever you want to do. But please fucking do something and don't just sit around all day playing video games. That was really, you know, basically what he thought. And my mom was the same, except that included sitting around playing video games, because that's what she did. Didn't have the urge to live through his son's eyes. No, I mean, my dad's had like a crazy fucking life. Like, I'm gonna have to get him on and like tell the stories and shit. Like, he was apprentice as a locksmith. Actually a lot of stories that I can't even really tell. Probably until after he's gone, for at least like 5 or 10 fucking years that he's told me. But you know, some of the war stories and other stuff like that. Yeah, it's on NDA. Like, there are entire states that he doesn't want to go to, because if he goes to that state, the people there might kill him. And I told him that, and he heard me say this on my stream, and he corrected me. He said, it's only one now. The other fuckers are dead. So, yeah, there you go. And then he's like, I think it's just one. And then he just says dick. Like, he's like referring to the guy that's still alive. Yeah, he outlived him? Yeah. Exaggerated and over dramatic. Yeah, no, obviously it is to an extent, but like what he's saying is, you know, I mean, obviously it's not really true, but there's a reason enough for him to just not want to go there. You know what I mean? Did you believe in Q back in the day? The QAnon stuff? My mom showed me all the QAnon stuff, and my opinion with QAnon was, with great assertions comes great evidence. And if it doesn't come, then it's probably not real. So, like, it's like if you want to say that all of the, you know, they're all, you know, the Pizzagate stuff and all this stuff is real, like, okay, I'll indulge this. And it's like, it's not that I really believed it, but, you know, I'm open-minded. You know, we'll see what happens, right? Because they said in 2 weeks, and, you know, there were other things that Q had gotten right. Just because, I mean, really, this is no amazing thing. If you make 10 predictions a day, every day, you're gonna get some right. That's what happens. You know, I mean, Nostradamus, Edgar Cayce, any of these guys, like, you're gonna do it. So, like, you know, I played along with it for a while, and I was like, well, we'll see what happens, right? Maybe it's somebody close to Donald Trump, maybe it's some other insider, maybe it's Donald Trump himself, I don't know. And I would not really ever, I would definitely say that I never really believed it, but I indulged the idea that maybe it could be real, right? I mean, like, again, we'll see what happens. And I kept an open mind, and the 2 weeks came, and it didn't happen. And then the next 2 weeks came, and that didn't happen either. And then the 2 weeks after that came, and that didn't happen. And at a certain point, I asked her, I was like, at what point is this not real? At what point is this like bullshit? You know what I mean? Like, because it's like there has to be a point where you draw the line. Why do you circle Borealis to talk? Because I like the music. So yeah, that's my opinion on the QAnon stuff. It's all come true. Careful with the subject. Twitch will ban. The dates are for optics. 2017 prediction can be 2001, 2022. Well, listen, I mean, like, QAnon's predicted a bunch of, like, pretty crazy stuff, and I don't really, I think that there is a very strong compulsion that people who are into conspiracies feel that they're privileged to some sort of esoteric knowledge, the hidden secrets. They are in on it, and I think it's a power fantasy. That's really what it is. It's a power fantasy that people get because they feel out of control of their life, and they use these conspiracies to give themselves the illusion that they still have control on it. And I've seen this happen firsthand, and I think that it happens to a lot of people. Big amount of people have no rational thought. I think it's as simple as this. It's people that, like my mom, she felt kind of fucked over by society, basically, right? She felt wronged by society. And she felt like she didn't have the opportunities that she felt that she'd... Why? Who cares? Doesn't matter why. She felt like she didn't have the opportunities that she thought she should have had, that felt like she was promised growing up, you know? And to counteract that disillusionment, people buy into a power fantasy. That's why you see so many people that are boomers and older people, like I'm talking like 45 plus, that buy into these things because it's a way to create a power fantasy out of their disillusionment and to place the blame on something. My sister thinks there's literally lizard people and aliens among us. Well, there might be. We don't even know. So why even indulge for a second thinking about it? Like, if I had to guess, I would say there's not. But like, you just can't prove it. It's like, oh, it's like proving if ghosts are real. Like, you can't really do that. Religion is basically placing blame and responsibility on everybody else but you. Religion is? I think a lot of things are. I mean, I don't know. Religion's not special in that regard. Is it a fantasy, though? Well, Trump is like... The thing is, like, Trump is a mascot for the ideology and the way that these people feel. But he's not the only person that... is like that encapsulates the feeling. There are many other people that do that. You know, now people are talking about like Ron DeSantis, and I'm sure other people will come up soon too, to be representatives of that idea. Nigel Farage, yeah, I mean I think that's a little bit different because he's UK, but I think most people that probably like Trump like Nigel Farage too. Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I think he says some pretty funny stuff, to be honest. I don't know anything about the Brexit shit, to be honest with you. Again, I don't live there. I don't fucking know. Can't barrage the Farage. Yeah, I remember that. It was funny. From Florida, I love Ron DeSantis. I mean, I don't really know. Nigel Farage reminds me of the serpents in Dark Souls. That's brilliant. Like, that's actually brilliant. Oh my god. that I wow. You should run for Texas governor. I wouldn't vote for you, but it'd be funny. Yeah, it would be funny, you're right. Right in, yeah, like Kanye West. Religion, if anything, forms a good morals base. I don't really know about that. I mean, I think that, like, you can have people that, you know, you can have the Salem witch trials, or you can have people that, you know, like, you know, live like Jesus, right? They, you know, wash the feet of the poor, and, you know, they help people. Or like a nun or something like that, or a saint. Or you can have ISIS, or you can have like people that I know that are Muslim who are completely fucking normal. I think it's like how I think fundamentalist religion in almost all cases is bad. And the more people view religion as philosophy, the better. Do you write it all? I've written some things. Like I'll do like a twit longer for something if I feel like there's a message that I want to get out, but I don't really write regularly now. Pretty moral secularist. Yeah, I think that like a lot of people, like, the truth is I do feel like there's a value, especially for some people whose lives are in like a young guy, right? You're 19, you're 23. You know, I can see a lot of young guys, like, they could gain something with like religion or some sort of other ideology to help them order their life. You know, those are the ages that you see guys that are, you know, they get into somebody like Jordan Peterson, or they get into a religion really hardcore, or some sort of other ideology, or some sort of other like way of thinking. It's very common. Awesome, Peterson. I think that my opinions on Jordan Peterson. I've heard some of the things he said. I've watched some interviews with him, and just like extended conversations. I think that a lot of the things that Jordan Peterson says, I talked about this before. Like, I'm not going to get into this a lot, but I think that Jordan Peterson provides like a solutions for like modern thinking, but very few things that Jordan Peterson says I feel will be said in 30 years. I think it's very circumstantial. It's like, in the same way that I think he's intelligent and everything like that, and you need people like that sometimes, but as I said, like, if you compare the level of insight that someone like Jordan Peterson has compared to someone like Carl Jung, it's just completely different. Like, it's completely different. And it's like in 100 years, Jung and Freud are based. Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, in 100 years, people will read Jung and Freud, right? Like, absolutely. And that's what I'm really trying to say. Does talk about Carl Jung a lot, though? Yeah, I'm sure he was a huge influence. Like, most people that are into that kind of stuff that Jordan Peterson is, he's kind of like a figurehead of that. Who says a Joe Smith's understanding of Jung now? That, I mean, that I don't care about that. All I'm really saying is that you know, you're probably not going to see a lot of the things. And Jordan Peterson, the thing is, like, his career is not over. So, like, maybe, you know, he'll develop levels of insight that people do use in the future. I'm not really sure. Far from over, he's just having a second wind. Yeah, I think that, like, really what happened with him is, like, Jordan Peterson, like, his image, his public image was a, you know, the distinguished gentleman, right? The guy that you want, like, kind of the guy that a person who doesn't have their life in order sees and thinks to themselves, wow, that guy really has himself put together, right? And then he got, like, his wife had, like, cancer, and it, like, really fucked him up, and he got addicted to, like, painkillers, and it was just, like, really bad in general. So, like, the problem with that is that, like, something like that directly contradicts your public image. So there's a lot of people that lost, that he lost credibility with, even though I think it's kind of unfair to say that. But that's kind of what happened. Daughter really tried to kill him multiple times? I don't know. I don't really know, really, or care. Those benzos, yeah. I think we swamped with hate from people the moment he started speaking openly. It takes its toll on a person. Yeah. And, like, that's definitely true. I mean, like, the thing is, like, Jordan Peterson has a lot of fans, and a lot of people love Jordan Peterson, but there's also a lot of people that hate him, too. And, I mean, we've seen how this affects streamers over the years. I'm no exception. So, I mean, like, Jordan Peterson is, like, several, like, levels of fame above me. So I could imagine it being extremely toxic and extremely damaging. And it's easy to say, like, oh, don't care about it, don't shut it out, like, but it's very hard. Not sure I think you two can be compared. Well, what I'm saying is, like, there's, like, as any public figure, right? Like, I'm saying, like, Jordan Peterson is, like, several degrees of magnitude more well-known than I am. That's all I'm really saying. And so, like, he's going to have that many more people saying negative things about him. And saying, you know, positive things about him, too. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I mean, I don't really, I think that a lot of people look for, like, a person to be a role model. And I think that a person cannot really be a role model because a person is another person. You can't have a role model of another person where it's like, well, I want to be like this person, because that's not you, it's a person. I think that you should focus more on ideas rather than the people that talk about the ideas. It's not about what really Jordan Peterson is saying, it's about what's being said. Of course, like, obviously the person giving the message matters, but I think it matters a lot more what the idea is. And it also, I think that in a lot of ways for me, it makes it easy for me to differentiate when someone is, makes it easier for me to differentiate like good and bad ideas from someone. And it allows me to say, okay, I'm going to take this from you, that from you, and everything else sucks. You know what I mean? And I think people always are looking for a person to embody this, like, this role model. And you see this a lot with, like, content creators, especially like YouTubers, where their fans are disillusioned because this person is not, you know, their public image. And this happens a lot. And I think that, like, you should idealize ideas more than people. And the people that embody those ideas are important, but the ideas are more important. If you idealize ideas, you get ideology. Well, I think ideology isn't a fundamentally bad thing. Like, I have, like, my own ideology, right? Where, like, I think people, like, everybody should be pretty much free to do what they want unless they're hurting somebody else, right? Like, that's generally the way that I look at things. So, like, ideology is not bad. Bad ideology is bad. In my opinion, there's no good ideologies. I think that, like, what you're talking about, and this is, like, kind of what I was saying before. Do you remember how I said, like, that I, you know, with, like, the Japanese, right? That I liked how the executives took a more, you know, long-term approach to, like, the growth of the business, and I like how they take more accountability for mistakes versus a, you know, North American companies. But I don't like how, you know, there's so much of an emphasis on being overworked in Japan either. So what I'm saying is that it's about being able to pick and choose. You see kind of what I'm saying? Ideology begs the question, what does it mean to hurt someone? I think that primarily, to me, if you're at fault for hurting someone, it primarily has to do with intent or just gross negligence. Forced to overwork because of age demographics? I don't know what the details are. And, like, all I'm really saying is that there are positive and negative elements of everything. And I think that that's really kind of a problem, is, like, people will just wholesale say this is just better, period, or that's just better, period. And that's just not really how things work. Hurting someone is not just violence. Ideology is blind to the circumstances, current stakeholders. I think that it's like hurting somebody, like, emotionally or with your words. It's very hard to, like, prove and, like, see the damage of that. So I think that's much more of, like, an interpersonal thing, that you, like, this is something that you negotiate and figure out with your, you know, somebody you're close to, or a friend or something like that. I don't think it's something that you can easily just kind of dictate to society. Would you support an age limit on political roles that essentially controls the direction of most ideologies? No, I would not support an age limit on political roles. Spam people who disagree with, build an echo community. Well, it depends. If people disagree with me in a weird way, what I mean by that is like they disagree with me under like broken logic and they're rude about it, I'll probably ban them. But if somebody disagrees and they bring up a counterpoint that I think is valid or rational, then it's very unlikely that I'll ban them. So it's not really about like if they disagree, it's how they disagree. Because there's people that disagree with me all the time. People disagree with me in chat right now. And they're not getting banned. Yeah, like people that misinterpret what I say or then try to like twist my words into something that I didn't say and then say it back to me or make some sort of like stupid comparison, thinking it's the same thing. I don't want to deal with that. Yeah, why tolerate that? Otherwise, you get an echo chamber. I think people are entitled to be in an echo chamber if they want to be. And I think that, like, it's not... There's a lot of people who are, like, really disagreeable and people that are looking for, like, conflict and fights on the internet that place a lot of value in other people listening to their point of view. And I think that, like, really... most people probably don't want to hear your super abrasive, obnoxious point of view. Nobody cares. That's about it, right? And like these people, they're fixated about like, oh man, this guy's in an echo chamber, he won't listen to criticism. It's like, it's just shut the fuck up. Like it's so cringe and weird to me. People need to take a stand on everything. Yeah, these are people that are just like, they're so abrasive and they're so fixated on like being right and proving somebody wrong that they're just exhausting to be around, and most people don't like to be around them categorically. It has nothing to do with what they're saying. They just don't like being around people like them in general. Yeah, and also they have like a massive sense of self-importance. Like this is 100% true. Counterpoint Andes. Well, I'm fine with counterpoints, but it has to be a good counterpoint and not argued in bad faith. It's kind of like you're describing yourself. I'm abrasive. People don't like me. I don't know. I found that like I can disagree with people in a lot of ways, and it's not really an issue at all. Yeah, I mean, like I find that like I can disagree with people. Like I can discuss things, and it's not really an issue ever. Yeah, the actually people, yeah. It's not even about being right or wrong. I think it's like people that make comments like that, it's again the like faux intellectualism where it's like, haha, you mean like you, right? To try to like turn it around on you, to try to indicate that they have some degree of I don't know what to say, like some degree of, you know, they're smarter than you, or like they're able to, you know, see through you, or they can understand you, and just like it's just, yeah, it's like it's a superiority complex. Like I just don't. It's very off-putting to me. So like whenever I see people that act like that, I just ban them on principle. It's not even that what they're saying is bad. It's just that they're just obnoxious, and I would rather not have people like that in my community. Like they have a read on you. Yeah. Can't wait to play this game on Xbox. Yeah. It's 99% of Twitter. I mean, Twitter's just not a place to debate things, man. I mean, you've got like little tiny amounts of. It's just not a place to debate things. I mean, just never works. If you want to win an argument on Twitter, make the other person look stupid. That's the goal. Make the other person look stupid. You don't have to be smart, and it's actually better that you're not smart, because you never want to tell people that you're smart. You want people to think that you're smarter than somebody else because the other person is stupid. Yeah, make them look stupid. It's the same thing like with Keemstar, right? Keemstar says something to somebody. How do they win the argument against Keemstar? Well, they say that he's 40 years old reporting on TikTokers, and it makes him look stupid, and that's it. That person wins the argument. It's kind of like what I learned in high school, is that every time that the teacher would call on me for something I didn't know, I would tell a joke or make the class laugh, and nobody would notice that I didn't know what I was doing. No, they knew, bro? Well, I don't know. I mean, the teacher would take away credit, and I didn't get my credit taken away even though I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I don't know. Well, if you're not funny, well, you don't have to be funny. You just have to think of something ahead of time to say. And then, I mean, of course, there is always the option of learning the material. You could do that too. I've heard that works for some people. Screen bar at the top of the camera. Actually, yeah, I need to change what I'm tracking. Track Venari. So yeah, anyway, I've got to go to bed in a few minutes, but let's see, what else was I gonna say? Bits planned in your head beforehand? Yeah, like there'll be a lot of times where I will have a joke planned and I'll say it on stream. All the time. Like I'll think of like, oh, this will be really funny to say. All the time I do that. Next stream when I get up. Random boy from Europe? Yo, for sure, man. Yeah, and the thing is, like, I know that, I know obviously, like, I'll indulge, you know, some degree of negativity in my chat. But, I want people to know that, like, I know that most people here are supportive and they like me. I know that. It's just a handful of, like, weirdos that come in chats, and that's how they are. Yeah, so don't ever think that I think it's like, you know, me versus the chat or something like that. I think most people see my point of view with things. Any thoughts on PoE Manifesto? Haven't read it, honestly. I feel like I might have to skip this league because of Lost Ark. It's unfortunate that dude, if PoE came out right now, like dude, imagine if the league was coming out tomorrow. Or imagine if it came out last week. Oh my god, dude, I would be so happy. Let's say you're right wing, and I'm all for that. I feel like unless you have people that are calling you an anarchist and also right wing, it's like that you're doing something wrong. I don't know. I think it's probably a good thing that people think that I'm an extremist of both sides of the political spectrum. Moderate syndrome. Yeah, I think being a moderate person is a good thing. I think that the only reason why there's like a negative connotation to being a moderate or being a centrist is just it's created by extremists who want to force people into their perspective. These are people that want to force you into adopting their point of view. In a lot of ways, I'm extremist, and in a lot of ways, I'm a centrist. I'm not going to be pushed into adopting some extreme ideology. Principled small L libertarianism is good. I think libertarianism, I'm a big fan of the non-aggression principle. But there's other things that I'm not a fan of at all with libertarianism. Centrist is a fence sitter that reacts to left and right at the current times. I feel like I've certainly haven't been a fence sitter with anything. I think the last thing people could call me is a fence sitter. I mean, fuck, dude. All I do is give my opinion on things. Libertarians are always against the age of consent. I don't want to get into that, man. I don't care about that. That's just like weird bullshit. Centrists that actually are extremists just masquerade as centrists. I don't know. I mean, I think that that's being disingenuous. Nobody has a monopoly on that. That's to me about libertarians. Yeah, I mean, didn't Gary Johnson get booed whenever he said that people needed to have driver's licenses? Holy fuck. Like, yeah, I mean, there's some stuff that, again, people become so open-minded, their brain falls out. People say centrists on the fence and also argue they support the extreme opposite of whatever their view is. Well, no, I think that there is feigned centrism. I think that that's true. It happens. Okay. It's 5 in the morning. It's time to go to bed. I'll see you guys later. We had fun today. I'll be back on probably tomorrow. I gotta get a bunch of other videos out. Alright, see you later. Peace.